You're a busy professional. You don't have time for fluff. You need strategies that work, and you need them fast. Welcome to Busy Pro Fast Wellness with me, your host, Alan Welch. We're here to give you science-backed hacks and actionable tips to boost your focus, minimize friction, and maximize your results. Less time, more impact. It's time to get well, stay strong, and thrive. Let's get to it.
What's going on, Alan? Going to come to answer some of these podcast questions for you. Busy Pro Fast Wellness. Here we go. So number one, micro recovery and stress management in busy lives. Question one, many of us live in a state of low-grade stress, always being on, always doing. What's one daily habit that you recommend to help clients shift into a more recovered, resilient state? At the end of the day, stress is there for all of us, right? We all have plenty of stress in our lives, whether that's work related, whether that's family related, whether it's the food and the environment that we live in, things in the air, things we're putting into our body, not getting enough sleep, you name it, right? So first and foremost, we want to try to dial in those things as much as we can. But one thing that has really, really helped me is dialing in or utilizing the removal of notifications feature on my phone. Nothing seems to add more stress and more feeling like I need to constantly be on in my day-to-day, besides being constantly available and constantly inundated with notifications and pings and alerts. So on my phone, I don't get notifications when I receive an email. I will only see the email if I click into my actual email inbox. I utilize that do not disturb feature and set it up from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day, so that I don't get notifications during that time unless I specifically go look for something. Same thing is true for social media. Unless it's a direct message to me, I don't get notifications on that. I don't get Instagram notifications or Facebook. Only if someone messages me through Messenger on Facebook am I getting that. So that's probably what my recommendation would be, is remove the constant ping, the constant notification, so that you're not constantly being interrupted and having to jump back into what you were trying to focus on. It'll allow you to be way more productive, get more done, and feel like you're constantly being pulled in multiple directions, much less. Question two, you talked about the nervous system being either in go mode or grow mode. How can busy people create quick transitions between work, stress, and recovery, even in just 60 seconds? If you're moving from one activity to the next, say you're going from working on your computer, you're about to hop into a meeting, and you want to make sure you're in the right mental place for that meeting. Or you're getting home from work, you want to then leave that in the car, and you want to step into dad mode, mom mode, into family life, and be present for your kids, present for your spouse or your partner, and you want to leave all that other stuff to the side. What I tend to recommend is a quick breathing exercise. And I say breathing instead of breath work, because breathing is something that should happen without a lot of work attached to it, right? We should be able to breathe in a very functional, effective manner without it feeling like a lot of work. One of my favorite ways to do that is through what we call cyclical sighing type of breathing. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a nice big through your nose inhale. Then at the top, you're going to sip one more little bit of air, hold it for a few seconds, and then you're going to nice, long, and drawn out exhale that air. I like to do this through the nose. You can definitely do the exhale through the mouth, but unless you are stuffed up, definitely recommend doing the inhale through the nose, sip that little last bit of air, nice and slow and controlled, exhale that out. And I wouldn't worry about counting it as much as I would worry about just doing several of those breaths. Don't worry as much about how long it takes you to take the breath in, how long it takes you to take the breath out. Just take that nice deep breath, sip a little bit more, exhale it out. If that doesn't work for you, one other thing that I would recommend is to separate or transition, moving from the one activity into the next, with a very, very small set of exercises. That could be knocking out 10 body weight squats. That's going to slightly ramp up your heart rate, slightly ramp up your respiratory rate, but it's just going to get your blood pumping, get your blood flowing in a good way, right? There's going to be positive blood sugar lowering effects from something like that. So either separate from one activity to the next with a quick breathing exercise or a quick physical exercise to kind of mark that transition. Let's talk about movement as medicine without doing a 90-minute or lengthy type of workout. So question one, you work with busy professionals who often don't have time for long workouts. What's one or two high impact ways to move daily that make a real difference? I think for a question like this, it really comes down to something that we call NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So if we define exercise, exercise is specifically like planned movement, planned fitness that you're going to go do for a prescribed number of, sets or repetitions. That might be you're going for a run, that might be you're going to do a workout, but like you're planning to go do that exercise. Compared to NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, means all of the calories and energy that you burn doing other activities throughout the day that is not that planned exercise. So for example, this might be taking a phone call while going for a walk. This might be parking farther away at the office, at the grocery store, at the wherever establishment you are going to, and walking further to and from the building. This might be taking stairs instead of the escalator or elevator. I think you get the picture. Anything where you can cheat a little bit more movement and activity into your day is going to be super impactful in terms of like getting more physical fitness and physical activity. This helps tremendously in weight loss journeys, in stress relief, because you're just getting your body moving more. Additionally, we were just talking about breaking up the transition from one activity to another with a small bout of exercise, one small set. There was a study recently that came out that examined the difference in the participants' blood sugar if they're sitting all day long at the office, 8 or 9 hour workday, if they broke up their workday and went for a 30-minute walk at some point in the day, compared to every 45 minutes during that workday, doing one set of 10 bodyweight squats. And what they found was that the individuals that did the 10 bodyweight squats numerous times throughout the day, every 45 minutes, saw a greater reduction in their blood sugar compared to the group that did the 30-minute walk. And it's fascinating because it's great news that if you do a high productivity, like a high caliber exercise, like a squat, something that's going to use a lot of muscles and big tissues in your body, even though that takes way less time to do a handful of sets of squats compared to going for a 30-minute walk, you're going to see a greater impact on a measure like blood sugar. So that's great news. We can be very effective even in a small amount of time from a movement and exercise standpoint. So number two, is there one movement or mobility drill you recommend for anyone who sits a lot or feels stiff by mid-afternoon? It is so common for us to sit in cars, sit at computers, sit wherever for meals, and we start to stiffen up. That saying out there that sitting is the new smoking. What we know is inactivity is killing us as much as anything else in the world, right? Cardiovascular disease is by far, not even close, the number one killer. And the more active we are, the less likely we are to suffer from something like that. So, but when we sit at a desk all day, the things that come to mind are the thoracic spine, your mid-back, and the hips. Those are two of the things that are really like kind of locked in position. You're not moving them. You're not expressing the motion that you have. So in terms of a mobility drill, one of the things that we really like is a thoracic spine rotation exercise. So imagine this, you're going to be up against a wall. One knee is going to be down on the ground. That's going to be the outside leg farthest away from the wall. The other knee is going to be up. Your foot will be on the ground. Your leg will be against the wall. You're going to straighten both arms out in front of you. And then you're going to rainbow your inside arm up along the wall and kind of rotate your torso to chest to face the wall. You're going to take a breath in that position. So you're rotating in one direction, and then you're going to come back to where you started, both arms straight out in front of you. You're going to leave that arm closest to the wall where it is, and then you're going to rotate the other arm and the torso away from the wall. So your chest is facing away. And you're going to rotate that mid-back the other direction. So we're in what we call a half kneeling position, one knee down, one knee up, and we're basically taking turns, alternating, rotating your mid-back one way and the other way. Very simple, doesn't really require any equipment. You could even do this not against a wall. The whole idea is let's get our thoracic spine, our mid-back moving throughout the workday, doing what we call a movement snack. It doesn't have to be a lot of reps. We just need to take our body through the range of motion that we have access to. Additionally, when we talk about the hips, we really like what's called the 90-90 position. Again, if you're at home, this would be easier. I know you can't always get down on the ground, but you're getting down on the ground. You have one leg straight out in front of you, bent 90 degrees at the knee. That's the front leg. You're going to feel a stretch in the outside of your hip. You have the other leg out to the side, bent 90 degrees at the knee, and the foot is kind of like pointed back behind you. And we call this the 90-90 position. You can spend and accumulate a little bit of time each day on the one side, and then switch legs, of course, and do the other side. And this really can help you express the external rotation range of motion on one hip and the internal range of motion on the other hip, internal rotation, that is. And we don't really take our body through that throughout the day. Those two things are going to really help loosen up the hip, loosen up the thoracic spine. And that's probably one of the quickest mobility drills or movement snacks that I could recommend to anyone. And then, of course, just get up and move from your desk as much as you possibly can. Number 3, mindset shifts for consistency, not perfection. What is one mindset shift that helps your clients stay consistent even when life gets chaotic? Look, life is going to be chaotic for all of us. There is always going to be something that is there stressing us out. There's never the perfect time to do anything. If you're waiting for timing to be perfect to start that exercise program, start that nutrition program, start the meditation, the timing's never going to be perfect. The best time to start is right now. And the best time to plant a tree was many years ago, but the second best time is right now. One of the mindset shifts that seems to help the most in this world where we're constantly paying attention to what other people are doing. We're constantly seeing the highlight reel that people put of their lives on social media. You're seeing the things that they want you to see, typically the good things. Not as many people are sharing the very vulnerable, difficult things that they're going through. Sometimes they do, but not as often. One of the things you have to remember is you are not competing with other people. The only one you're competing with, if you want to look at it that way, is yourself, right? We are all on a self-development, self-progression type of journey. We're all trying to move the needle forward one little bit at a time, day after day, week after week, and month after month. You're not competing with other people. So what they do or don't do should not really have much bearing on what you need to do for yourself. So that really helps, like keeping in mind, like, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for somebody else. I'm not comparing where I'm at to where they are. But number 2, I think one of the things that is important to remember is what's going to help us from a mindset standpoint is not necessarily worrying how far we still have to go to get where we need to be. What's going to allow us and help us achieve the goals, whatever they are, that we're trying to reach, are the little micro habits each day that are along the way going to help us get there. So if you think about what is my big goal, and then you work backwards, what are the things, the smaller building blocks, the bricks that you need to lay in order to reach that ultimate goal, right? Those are the habits that you need to put in place. And rather than focusing on the goal, where you can change your mindset to is like, let me just focus on stacking the habits that I need to do. And I know if I continue to be consistent doing these little habits, that's going to help me reach that goal that I have out there in front of me. That might be achieving a certain position in your career. That might be hitting a goal weight that in your body, like hitting a goal weight. That might be running a particular time, hitting a weight in the gym. What's going to help you do those things is putting in the daily training, getting the daily adequate sleep, eating the correct things in the correct amounts on a daily basis is going to help you reach those things. Doing the work in your career, showing up every day, doing the work, meeting the people that you need to meet. Change your mindset to be habit stacking. What are the habits that I need to do? Keep track of you doing them, and that's going to help you reach the goal. Don't constantly be thinking about the goal necessarily, even though you want to have that vision out there in front of you. So hope this was helpful. But yeah, I mean, I guess to wrap that up, it's just focus on the things, the habits, the daily habits that will lead to the results that you're looking for. And if you track those things, that will really start to stack on itself. The consistency will be there because you're doing the things that you need to achieve the results. And it really makes a big difference. It's just a little shift in the mindset of like what you're focusing on and what you're thinking about.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's not something I was really thinking about covering, but you've made me think of it now because it's something which some people are very concerned about it is how to track their habits. And I have a very good friend of mine, Jake, who will be fastidious with data, and he'll be there with his spreadsheets, filling them all in, etc., what he's eaten, what sort of times he's done, what time he got to bed, how much sleep he's had. Is there a really simple way? Do you have any sort of simple systems without going full tech on this? Do you do anything?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't do this much anymore, but I used to do some health and wellness coaching with clients prior to the position that I'm in now. And what that looked like is I was working as a personal trainer with clients, and I was also working as a health and wellness coach, remotely helping them establish these habits and track these things. And what seemed to work the best was I literally just made a one-page document on the computer that we called a habit worksheet. And what we did was we picked, the 5 or 6 most impactful habits that they needed to implement. And those might be things such as consume 150 grams of protein per day,
Okay.
sleep 8 hours, or I guess I should better say, go to bed by 9 p.m. or whatever. Drink 90 ounces of water per day, like
Yeah.
whatever these habits were that we were trying to do. And it would just be Monday through Sunday, or the days of the week were across the top of the page.
Perfect.
And it would literally just be a worksheet that they magneted onto their refrigerator or something, and they would just put either a check mark or an X in the box
Yeah.
of those different habits on the days of the week. And what we wanted to see over time was that the number of days of the week that they were able to consistently accomplish these habits would grow. And them just having that there in front of them as a reminder
Yes.
every day, whether it was on their desk or their bathroom mirror or on their refrigerator, somewhere that they're going to see it often,
Yeah.
just kept them on track with these habits. And I really found that to be very, very useful.
Yeah, I love that. I love the simplicity of that, which is the way that I'm trying to go, and I'm trying to suggest other people go, is just
Mm-hmm.
take the simple route wherever possible. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. And what about if people do tend to fall short of their health goals? Is there one other thing you'd have them do to
Mm-hmm.
reset and to refocus at that
Mm-hmm.
point?
Well, I think like we were just talking about a minute ago, at the end of the day, it's kind of a mindset shift. I was speaking with a client the other day in the gym, and one of the things we were sort of joking about is that fitness and health is it's one of those games that is infinite. There
Yeah.
is really no end point, right? The game lasts as long as you are living. And you've never made it. Like there's never a stopping point
No.
necessarily. So I think if you find that you've fallen off your routine, you've fallen off your habits, you had a couple unhealthy meals or something. It's just as simple as, not that this is easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's just as simple as I just need to restart tomorrow, and I just need to
Mm,
get back on track. So like whatever the next opportunity is, whether it's the next meal, the next workout, the next bedtime routine, the next chance for you to get back on track is your opportunity to do just that.
yeah.
And try not to beat yourself up about
Yeah.
the slice of cake that you ate, or the day that you didn't exercise for whatever reason. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that one thing in the grand scheme of your life does not have to be a big detractor if you don't let it. So
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, it really is good. Thanks for that. And do you have one wellness habit that you personally will never skip, that
mm,
you'll always employ even on the most chaotic of times or busiest of your days, etc.?
yeah, let me think of that, because life is pretty busy right now. We have a 1.5-year-old, and we're about 5 weeks away from having our
Oh,
second child. So,
congratulations.
so yeah, life is about to be very busy. And what I would love my answer to be is to go to bed and wake up at a certain time. But in the phase of life that we are about to be in, that's just not going to be realistic with the little infants. So I won't say that. I think for me, as much as I love lifting weights, as much as I love running, as much as I love doing all sorts of things, I think what I've really come to enjoy and find beneficial in my life is walking.
Okay.
And, whether that is a short 10-minute walk in the morning or a 10-minute walk after dinner at the end of the day or after I put my son to bed, I really find just going for a short walk at some point during the day is enough to keep that consistency going, give me an opportunity to detach from, my phone or the notifications or something like that. Get outside, most importantly, because I try not to do this on the treadmill, but rather step outside and go for that walk. So even on the busiest of days, if I don't have time to go to the gym, do that 30 to 60 minute workout or something, if it is a day when I don't get the sleep that I want, I'm still going to find the time to just go for a short walk, preferably one without the cell phone and the constant distractions and things. And I really find that to help.
Yeah, I've noticed. I mean, because obviously I followed your podcast, and you often start off, you're going out, you say, I'm outside at the moment. So obviously that getting out first thing in the morning seems to be something which you regularly employ in your daily routine. And I even heard you do some of your podcasts while you're in the car. So you're somebody who tries to keep as productive as possible. You're sort of driving along and recording a podcast, which is amazing.
Yeah, those aren't my favorite ones. It's nice that that there's the technology, I guess, to be able to do that. Whenever I record one of those, which I've done a few times in the car while driving, I'm not looking at the camera. So, I'm looking at the road, and I have a little microphone that I can attach to my shirt. And some of the times I find myself doing that is just because, just like so many people, I'm just running short on hours of the day, and I'm trying to find a way to get it all done as safely and productively as possible. But yeah, my preference would be not to record them in the car, but I have done that from time to time when I'm pushing up against the deadline to get a podcast episode submitted, and to make sure it gets out there on time for all the listeners. So
that's a great example of consistency. You're against all the odds, and you're still going to churn that podcast out. Even if you're in your car and driving along. And I realize you're not looking at the camera, of course. You are driving safely, and it's very natural, the process as well. That's what I love about your particular podcast, because you can just tell that you're just really, what you want to say. It's very clear. It's very very manageable. It's very easy to comprehend, because obviously being a doctor, I think, it might go off on a tangent. It might be too difficult. It might not, but it's very, very bite-sized and manageable and natural, and that's what shines through on those podcasts. Which is why
thanks for that.
I definitely recommend people listening to The Code, whenever possible, because it's one of the great shows out there. So I think that's everything for me. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before I get you out of here?
No, I mean, I think we covered some good things, Alan, and I guess, anyone that tuned in to listen to this, really appreciate being here, really appreciate you guys tuning in. And, just remember, it's your journey that you're on. It's nobody else's journey. And, take care of yourself, because it's the only opportunity, the only life that we've got. It's the only body that we've got. And, there are many people out there that are counting on you and looking up to you and relying on you. And, by taking care of yourself, you just make the world a better place. So
exactly. And you only get one shot at this, don't you? We're only here. Yeah. That's it. So you may as well make the most of it and do the best we possibly can during our short period of our, the life is, the finitude of life and all that sort of thing. So thanks very much for that. So I'd like to thank you very much for joining me anyway. And obviously, if you want more of Andrew's insights, you can check out the Code podcast, or follow him on Instagram at Dr. Andrew Fix. That's correct, isn't it?
That's correct. Yep.
I will be dropping that link in the show notes, of course.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you guys do check out that podcast, really appreciate it. And if there's any topics or things that, you would like to hear on The Code, please feel free to drop some comments or find my information there in the show notes, shoot me a message, and, we'll get an episode out on those things.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Thanks very much for joining me today. And I hope that all the listeners out there have enjoyed this show. Remember, wellness doesn't need to be overwhelming. It just needs to be consistent. So goodbye from me, and goodbye from Dr. Andrew. Goodbye.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you having me.
It's time to get well, stay strong, and thrive.